What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I start off the haircut tutorial, I'm gonna break down the haircut. First, we're gonna set the first guideline from the temple of the head and dip it down towards the back of his occipital bone. We're gonna open up the lever and create one guideline, put the one guard, open up the lever and do a separate guideline to create the foundation of our fade to get this end result right here, guys. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure you guys hit that sub button and hit that like or comment and let me know if you guys have any questions. It helps with the algorithm, guys. I'm trying to reach more people. But anyways guys, let's get to work. The first guideline is going to be where his hairline starts, right there at the temple of the head, and we're going to dip it down towards the back of his head, which is his occipital bone, and that's going to be how we're going to set the foundation of our mid fade. But guys, for this video I'm showing you guys how to blend really thin puffy Mexican hair. So this applies to whenever you guys are fading Asian hair, Mexican hair, or just anybody with really thin hair. It's super important, guys, when you guys are setting your guideline to really just use a soft touch and let your machine do all the work, because if you guys go in super hard, it's going to be really hard to take down that zero line. And you know, with thin hair you only get one chance, guys. You guys get less room for error and you guys have to be more on point. So I suggest you guys really take your time when you guys are setting your guidelines and do one side when you guys do a guideline and then repeat it on the other side, and then we're going to connect it in the back. So after creating our consistent guidelines on both sides of the head, I'm going to go ahead and use my Babyliss Gold FX shaver. I'm only using one side of the head. There's two sides in this foil shaver. I don't use both sides because I feel like I'm not as accurate as if I only use one side, and I'm leaving a little bit of room towards the top of that guideline just so I can create a nice clean transition and I can just flick out the shaver towards that line. If I were to just use my shaver all the way up, it's just going to create a really hard line that I just don't want to go back and erase and just create the extra detailing. It's not worth it for me. And right here we're going to create a nice base. Like I told you guys, my client has really puffy hair, and you know, the looks can be really deceiving, guys. You guys can think that he has a two guard on the sides, but believe me, when you guys go in, you guys just want to be really safe, and I just want to just chop down the bulk on the sides with the four guard and just flick out towards the corner of his hairline. That's the guideline that you guys should follow. That's what the parietal ridge area is, and we want to keep that area as dark as possible. But right now I'm just going with the four guard, and I'm gonna go in with the three guard, and then with the two guard I'm going 3 fingers in with the three guard. I went 4 fingers in with the four guard. So then on the next step I'm going to use the two guard to go in with 2 fingers and just go across the whole head. We're just cleaning up the room, guys. This is just to set us up for us to set some nice clean guidelines to create a nice foundation so we can start blending. So what I just did was just cleaned up the sides of the head so we can go in, open up our lever, and create a 1 finger thick guideline across the whole head that's proportional to the first guideline that we set with our trimmers. And like I mentioned before, you guys just want to have a very nice soft touch when you guys are setting these guidelines. My client has very thin hair, so even if I go up, it's going to take down the bulk. And just make sure that you guys are brushing down your client and making sure that everything is super consistent, and you guys just gradually just keep hitting the guideline until everything is nice and even. Do one side and repeat it on the other side. So we have successfully just done our first guideline. Now with the one guard, the same process is going to apply. We're going to repeat the same method, but just using a different guard and opening up the lever. 1 finger thick guideline. It's going to be proportional to the guideline that we just set. They're both going to be the same size, and we're going to do the same thing on this side and repeat it on the other side to create the foundation of our fade. A great way to also double check your work to make sure that everything is nice and crisp. What I like doing once I set both guidelines, I go again and I just redefine that guideline to make sure that it's going to be perfect. You guys want to strive for perfect and efficient and consistent guidelines because it's going to give you consistent results. And I'm going to go ahead and explain to you guys how to erase these two guidelines step by step. But if you've gotten this far in this tutorial, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. This is going to be the breakdown, guys. The guideline on top is the one guard with the lever open, which measures the 1.5. The guideline below that is the lever open, which measures the 0.5. That's the foundation that you guys should always strive for when you guys are doing the guideline. The way to erase the guideline, the first guideline, is we're going to go through the lever method. That's middle, open, closed. We're going to put our lever straight in the middle and hit the guideline in the middle. We're only focusing on this guideline. We're gonna open up the lever, go a tiny bit higher, then open up all the lever again, and then hit the whole guideline to just redefine that area again, so we can close the lever, hit the beginning of the guideline, and keep repeating the steps. Open the lever a little bit, open the lever a little bit, and then open it all the way to hit everything again, so you guys can complete the whole process of erasing that first guideline. And so we can go from that ball transition to erasing that first guideline, so then we can go in and erase the second guideline after this step. So you guys got that quick visual, and now I'm going to demonstrate it here in the tutorial. So first, put the guideline, your lever in the middle. We're going to hit it straight in the middle, guys, straight in the middle. I'm going to zoom in for you guys using the corners of your clippers. This is completely different when you guys are setting guidelines versus fading. Setting guidelines, you can use the whole clipper. But when you guys are fading, you guys only want to stick to using either the left corner or the right corner, depending if you're a lefty or a righty. That's just what works for me. And the way that I blend and the way that I stay organized is I like going from the ear to the temple of the head. So once I'm done blending out that side, I go and I work on another side, on the other side of the head. And right here, I opened up the lever one more time, and I'm going in higher. You guys are seeing how this line is already blending out. Like I mentioned, guys, my client has very thin hair. So any little minute detail, any little pressure that I apply to the blend, it's gonna smudge because his hair is thin and it's puffy. So like I said, like I mentioned before, you guys only get one trial. You guys can't really go back and correct the mistakes if you guys go higher. But it also makes the fading process a lot faster and smoother if you guys stay consistent with this system that I'm showing you guys right here. I close the lever completely, and I'm now hitting the beginning of the guideline, and you guys can see I'm just poking at it. I'm just poking at it little by little with the corner of the clipper, and I'm gonna open it up again like I showed you guys in the demonstration before this. We're just gonna keep repeating the steps. By starting in the middle, it gives us, you know, it's just better because you're not making the error of closing your lever and smudging the line right off the bat. You just get a safer position when you guys start in the middle. And you guys can see that I'm not going in and I'm blending out the whole thing. I make sure that one side is completely blended so I can restart the process again like I'm showing you guys right here. So I work from the ear to the temple of the head, and now I'm working from the ear towards the back of his occipital bone. So it's like 25%. I'm working on 25% of the head at a time. So I stay organized and I go through this process 4 times to complete the whole head. So just keep doing this, guys. Stay consistent and just keep following the same consistent principles. So after finishing our fading process with our first guideline, I'm gonna open up the lever using this machine that's a lot sharper. I have a modified blade on this. It's a lot thinner and less thick than the other blade that I was using. So this just helps me identify those dark spots that I can attack with the corner of my clipper, just to make sure that everything is gonna be nice and faded before we proceed to the next guideline. It's super important that you guys are staying organized and that you guys are just making sure that after every single guideline you erase, everything is nice and crisp, so you don't have to go back at the end of the fade and play guess games or just make, you know, errors that you're not supposed to. We're gonna grab our one guard and we're gonna do the closed to open lever method. Middle, open, close, we start in the middle, and then close to open, we start with it closed and then we just start opening up the lever little by little. When I say baby tap, guys, I really do mean it. Just make sure that that red portion of the red part of the guard is barely tapping the beginning of the guideline, and then once you hear it cut, once you hear it a little smudge, you open up the lever and you go a tiny bit higher. You hear that little smudge, just keep going higher and higher until your lever is completely open in that start position where we're setting our guideline with the lever open. And in the second guideline, it's a little bit tricky, guys, because this line is not going to completely blend out. It's going to blend out when we attach our 0.5 guard after the softening up phase. So the second guideline, always remember, you're going to soften it up first so we can go in with our 0.5 guard and apply the same closed to open method so we can completely erase that guideline to then proceed on to the next step, which is going to be to blend out the line on top of that. So just stay consistent and focus, guys. If you guys are doing something else, if you guys don't have your head in the game when you guys are doing these steps, if you guys are just thinking about something else, my sole focus when I'm doing this, I do not want to lose my place. I do not want to lose focus in the guideline, because once we go in with our 0.5 guard, it's going to be super important for you guys to remember, so you won't lose your place in the guideline and you can use your 0.5 guard effectively. The before is the foundation that I have on top in this diagram, and the after is the one guard with the lever open, which I'm right there with the black lines. I'm identifying that part, and we're gonna use our 0.5 guard and use half the room of that guideline to attack it with the closed to open method. Close the lever, hit the beginning of the guideline, open the lever a little bit, keep going higher and higher until your lever is fully open. But it gets really tricky in this step, guys, because as you guys can see there, I can't really see the guideline anymore. I can't see anything. All I know is that it's a one finger guideline, and I only have half that room to work with from a closed to open position. We do not want to open up all our lever and hit the whole thing. You know, you only have half that finger of room to work with, and you have to do lever play. Lever play is when you're just using the lever to kind of, I wouldn't like to say you're playing guessing games, but you're kind of estimating where you're gonna attack a dark spot by using your lever. If there's a dark spot that's lower, you might want to close your lever a little bit and use the corners of your clippers to attack that tiny spot that's gonna blend out. If it's something is a little bit higher, obviously you want to open up the lever and attack it a little bit higher and using the corners of your clippers, guys. This is the most important part of the whole fade, because this is gonna make or break your blend. Once you guys run through that guideline smoothly, we're gonna be left with a hard line on top, and we're gonna apply the same method that we did to soften up this line. We have the 2 guard, and we're gonna close the lever, baby tap the beginning of the guideline, and just continue to do the same system that we've been doing for this whole haircut. How we're gonna get rid of this line, we're gonna put on our 1.5 guard after we do the close to open method, and it's just gonna be the same process, the same system. But like I mentioned, my client has very thin hair, so make sure you guys are very diligent and very, you know, just maintaining a soft touch when you guys are going through opening and closing the lever. You guys can see how the fade is coming to life. All that we have left to do is go in closed to open to get rid of that line that you guys see there, and we're gonna be applying the same method, closed to open. After completing that step, guys, we want to go in and start detailing. You guys can see there that there's little dark spots there that it was just bugging me, so I have to go in with my YS Park comb and my shears to really signal out those dark spots that you guys see there. And I'm going in and just using those little gaps in between the comb to get in between those dark spots, and right here using the point cutting technique. Your clipper is not going to do all the work, so make sure you guys use your tools effectively. And I'm going to use my straight razor to bald out the bottom line below the shaver, then go in with my trimmer to redefine that transition that we just detailed, just to make your work stand out, make everything pop, to go into the hairline. Like I mentioned before, my guy has very puffy hair. It just protrudes, and it's just really, it's really out there, guys. You guys have to use your trimmer and kind of just graze it from the top so you can hit the hair that's falling from the top, and also press down so the line below the hair can be really crisp. So just a rule of thumb, whenever you guys are dealing with Asian or Mexican hair, just take your time on the lineup, take your time on the detailing, and just make sure you guys get used to it so you guys can keep getting better through time, so you guys can be able to service any client. Right here, I'm gonna go in and apply a little bit of enhancement, some semi-permanent black enhancement. This just gives me a better visual of his hairline. The sides of his hairline are pretty light. They're not, it's not super dark. So, you know, just use your tools, use your things effectively. My guy does have a widow's peak. We're gonna pluck out his widow's peak. So I go above his widow's peak just to create that nice, clean lineup that you guys are seeing here. So there's so many people that have an opinion on what to do with the widow's peak. This is what works best for me and my client. It does not grow back thicker for this situation. Another person, it might grow back thicker, but this is the end result after plucking his widow's peak. Just going above and beyond for your client. They're gonna appreciate it, guys. And this is the before, and this is the after doing every single step in this haircut tutorial. I didn't leave any detail out. Every single step is demonstrated in this tutorial. How to fade thin Mexican hair. You guys see how blurry it is, guys. This fade is really hard to do on thin hair. Take your time, set consistent guidelines, stay true to your system of cutting hair. I appreciate you guys for tuning into my channel. Drop a comment, let me know what I can do better for you guys. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here, guys.